Title and escrow are actually two separate things that are all meshed together into one company in our state. In some states, they're actually separated. In other states, they actually have attorneys that do it, and you don't necessarily work through a title company. Here in Clark County in Washington State, most real estate is transacted through a title and escrow company. And it seems like something like, well, why do I need to have this? Well, it's actually critical to the process. Title insurance is ensuring that the property title is clear. Because if you're buying a house, you don't want to buy a house that has hundreds of thousands of dollars of liens against it. You don't want to buy a house from somebody that doesn't have the right to sell that property to you. You've got to have title insurance because that title company is tracking the history of the property to make sure that the first person had the right to sell it to the second person, who had the right to sell it to the third person, who held on to it for 50 years, and then they had the right to sell it to the next person. And now the person you're buying it from has clear title without any what they call a cloud, any cloud on that title that means somebody else could come back and say, you couldn't buy that because I actually owned it. Imagine spending $800,000 on a house and the next day somebody knocking on your door saying, excuse me, but this is my house, you can't be here. That's why we need title insurance. We have to have that to be able to make sure that the person selling the house or the property or whatever it might be has the right to sell it. Even if you're doing your own transaction where you're not going through realtors and you think, oh, we'll just do it ourselves, we don't need to worry about that. Please don't. You need to have title insurance. And it's, again, making sure that there's no liens on that property. Maybe there was some contractor that didn't get paid and he liened the property. Well, that stays with the property. Now you've bought this thing and the contractor says, by the way, you owe me $20,000. That has to be cleared up in order to be able to buy this thing. And if the seller's like, I'm out, I'm not doing it, or it was somebody else that did it because the last person didn't get title insurance, you have a mess. So title insurance is critical. Don't go it alone. Don't do it without title insurance. You need to make sure that you're buying a property with clear title with no liens against it. That's part of what the title company does. That's part of what escrow is doing. The escrow officer and the escrow aspect of that is making sure that everything is taken care of, because there are liens on properties. That's fine as long as those liens are paid off before you take ownership. You need to make sure that's happening. The escrow officer is a neutral third party, and they are a limited practice officer, LPO. So the escrow officer has the license to practice law only under specific categories of real estate. They can't give advice, they cannot give opinions, they can only simply follow the rules, and they direct you through that process. But that's what the title and escrow aspect is they're going to help make sure that you have clear title, liens are cleared, taken care of, make sure that the buyer signed all of the buyer's papers, the seller signed all of the seller's papers, and everything is clear and taken care of, so that when you buy your house, your duplex, your multifamily, your commercial, your vacant land, whatever it is you're purchasing, you have clear and free title to make sure that you are the one and only owner of that property and that everything is taken care of along the way. So title and escrow are critical. Make sure you have title insurance and you're working with an escrow officer to help facilitate the entire transaction.